Hi there. Are you enjoying your stay at Toshi's place?
We've put together this sightseeing guide to help you make the most of your time in Kamakura.
Today, let's talk about Enoshima Samuel Cocking Garden.
And welcome to this deep dive. So we've got some really interesting material here about the Enoshima Samuel Cocking Garden.
Yeah, looks great.
Our goal today is basically to unpack all this information. We want to figure out what makes this place special.
Mm-hmm.
We'll dig into the history, which seems quite surprising, point out the highlights, what you can actually do there, and cover the practical stuff too, like getting there.
Exactly. We want to equip you, the listener, so you can walk in feeling like you really get the place, its story.
Yeah, know what to look for.
Right. And it's one of those spots with, well, it has layers. History, nature, even some cool old tech. So I want to peel those back.
Connect the dots between past and present.
That's the idea. See how it all fits together today. It's like walking through different time periods almost.
Ooh, I like that, walking through time. Okay, let's jump right in. The garden itself. It's described as this unique seaside garden
Yeah, very unique.
where history and nature are like breathing together, reflecting exotic dreams and the seasons. That sounds poetic.
It does, but it's also quite literal because it's built right on the site of a much older botanical garden, a historic one.
Ah, okay. So there's history literally under your feet.
Precisely. It's not just a modern creation plopped down.
And that older garden connects us to Samuel Cocking. Tell us about him. He sounds central to this story.
It really is. Samuel Cocking, he was an Irish merchant, came to Japan in the late 19th century.
Okay, so Meiji era.
Exactly. The Meiji era.
Yeah.
A time of huge change in Japan, opening up, modernizing really fast.
Right, a massive transformation period. And he ends up on Enoshima Island.
He does. And apparently he was just completely captivated by how beautiful it was.
Can't blame him there.
No, not at all. So he actually bought land on the island, decided to start his own botanical garden.
Okay, but it wasn't just any garden, right? You mentioned tech.
Right. This is where it gets really interesting for the time. He built steam boiler greenhouses.
Steam boilers in late 1800s Japan.
Yeah. Think about that. Steam heating for greenhouses was pretty cutting-edge stuff even back in Europe or the U.S. then. Very rare in Japan.
Wow. What was he growing in these high-tech greenhouses?
Mostly exotic plants. Things like orchids, other tropical species, plants that you just couldn't grow outdoors year-round in that climate.
So he's using Western tech, these steam boilers, to grow tropical flowers on a Japanese island during the Meiji Restoration. That's quite a picture.
It really is a fascinating mix of, Western innovation meeting Japanese nature, almost futuristic for its day.
Definitely a symbol of that whole era, maybe.
I think so. It wasn't just about aesthetics. It was about using these advanced methods. And his influence went further, too. He was involved in horticultural exchange.
Horticultural exchange, what did that involve?
Well, he was sending Japanese plants back to Britain. There was huge interest there in, exotic plants from Japan.
Ah, the Japanism trend.
Kind of part of that, yeah. And then conversely, he was bringing plants from places like the South Pacific to Japan.
So a two-way street.
Exactly. Creating this flow of plants and gardening ideas between East and West, really pioneering a kind of fusion style.
That's a pretty cool legacy for a merchant. But things change. What happened to his original garden and those amazing greenhouses?
Yeah, well, over time, the original structures,
Mm.
they didn't last. They were lost, faded away. But here's the twist.
Okay.
In 2002, they were doing a big redevelopment of the garden area. And guess what they found? Buried underground.
No way. The greenhouse foundations.
Bingo. The brick foundations of his original steam boiler greenhouses. Just sitting there.
Wow. After all that time, that must have been a huge discovery.
Absolutely huge. Their historical value was recognized immediately. I mean, these weren't just any ruins.
Right. They were those specific rare Meiji-era tech ruins.
Exactly. And get this, the material says they're the only remaining Meiji-era brick greenhouse ruins known in Japan today.
The only ones. That's incredible. Talk about a tangible link to the past.
It really is. A
Yeah.
direct connection to that moment of modernization and cross-cultural stuff.
So can you actually see them now? Did they preserve them?
They did. They're preserved, and you can see them through a special glass floor. It's inside a building called the Greenhouse Ruins Exhibition Hall.
So you go in this hall, look down, and there they are, the footprint of his 19th century vision.
That's exactly it. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Really helps you understand that the beautiful garden you're walking through now is built on this really significant history.
Amazing preservation. Okay, so that covers the roots, the history, the ruins. Let's shift gears. What's the garden like today? What hits you when you walk in?
Well, today it's still incredibly beautiful. Lots of tropical-looking trees, plus tons of seasonal flowers that change throughout the year. It still has that blend. Cocking started.
Exotic and local, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the seasonal stuff is a big draw.
What are some highlights?
Okay, so spring into early summer, there's a rose garden. It's in a spot called Windsor Square.
Windsor Square, like Canada.
Yeah. It commemorates the sister city link with Windsor, Canada, another international connection. They have over 20 kinds of roses. Apparently, it's stunning when they bloom.
Roses, history, tropical vibes, nice mix. What about peak summer?
Summer is really lush.
Mm.
Lots of the subtropical plants are thriving, giving it vibrant color, almost a jungle feel in parts.
Okay. And winter. Usually gardens are a bit dormant then.
You'd think so, but not entirely here. They actually have winter tulips.
Winter tulips, how does that work?
I know, right? Apparently, they bloom right through mid-January. Quite unusual, adds a pop of color.
Unexpected.
But the real winter star is the illumination event. It's called Shonen no Hoseki.
Julep Shonen. It sounds sparkly.
Oh, it is. Big time. It's considered one of the top 3 illumination shows in the whole Kanto region, around Tokyo.
Wow, top 3. That's serious.
Yeah. Millions of lights transform the garden. Light tunnels, huge displays. It draws massive crowds every year. It's supposed to be breathtaking.
Okay, so history, ruins, roses, tropical plants, winter lights, quite a range. And right in the middle of it all is the Enoshima Sea Candle.
Yep, you really can't miss the sea candle. It's this lighthouse/observatory tower. Very prominent.
How high up are we talking?
The tower itself is about 42 meters, but the observation floor is around 102 meters above sea level, so you get a really good elevation.
And the views must be amazing. What can you see?
On a clear day, everything. It's 360 degrees. You see Sagami Bay, the Shonan coastline stretching out, the Tanzawa Mountains inland.
Any islands?
Yep, Oshima Island out in the bay, the Mira Peninsula, and the big one, Mount Fuji.
Ah, Fuji, always the hope.
It's the classic view, isn't it? And the view changes dramatically, too. Sunset from up there. People rave about the sky turning fiery red.
Oh, I bet.
Then at night, the sea candle itself lights up, plus you see the garden illuminations below in winter. It's a whole different vibe. Very romantic.
Day and night experiences. Sound like you need to plan your visit time?
Definitely worth thinking about. And remember, this whole garden is on Enoshima Island itself, which has its own deep, deep history.
Right. Much older history, man.
Yeah, ancient myths and legends, like the story of the Celestial Maiden and the Five-Headed Dragon, supposedly explains how the island was formed in some tales.
Wow. Okay, so mythic origins.
Exactly. And the Samuel Cocking Garden sort of sits within that older story. It's this place where ancient myths meet, 19th century history, Cocking's vision, and the natural beauty that's always been there.
So bringing it back to you, the visitor, why does all this matter? It's not just another pretty garden, is it?
Not at all. It means you're stepping into a place with real depth. You're not just admiring flowers. You're walking over these unique Meiji-era ruins.
Experiencing that blend of global gardening traditions.
Right. Standing in a place tied to ancient myths while looking out from a modern tower. It's just richer. It offers so much more than meets the eye initially. History, nature, tech, culture, all layered together.
Sounds fantastic. Okay, practicalities.
Right.
How do you get there from, say, Kamakura?
It's pretty easy by train from Kamakura, actually. Get to one of the Enoshima stations, then head towards the island bridge. The garden's up on the hill.
Up the hill implies climbing.
It does involve some uphill walking, yes. Slopes and stairs, quite a few.
Yeah.
But there's help. It's called the Escar.
Escar, what's that?
Think outdoor escalator. The paid system runs one way uphill.
Seriously, an escalator up the island.
Yeah. Starts near the big red torii gate for Enoshima Shrine and takes you up in stages, right near the garden entrance. Saves your legs a lot of work.
That is a brilliant tip, especially if you've been sightseeing all day.
Definitely. Good to know about.
Any other advice once you're in the garden?
Yeah. Definitely wear comfortable shoes.
Yeah.
Even inside the garden, there are still slopes and steps.
Makes sense.
And if you happen to have a stroller, just, be a bit careful navigating those bits. Take your time.
Good practical advice. Okay, so let's sort of wrap this up. The Enoshima Samuel Cocking Garden. It's this really fascinating blend. You've got the deep historical roots with cocking and those unique Meiji greenhouse ruins you can actually see.
The only ones like it.
Then there's the living beauty, The tropical feel, the seasonal flowers like the roses, the winter tulips, and that huge Shonen Nohoseki light show.
Right, the visual spectacle.
And capping it off, the sea candle with those amazing panoramic views, Fuji, the coast, day, night, sunset. It really feels like a place where different times and cultures meet nature.
It absolutely is. And, it leaves you thinking, here's this garden started by an Irishman using Western tech on this island soaked in Japanese myth. Now it shows off plants from all over, next to modern structures.
Yeah.
Well, what does that mix tell us about how places grow, how cultures connect across time? It's something to ponder as you wander around, that blend of global and local, old and new.
What did you think?
We hope you'll make even more wonderful memories at Toshi's place.